8, 13, 14, and 15. They're over measuring. Look at them. You have 5 minutes to look at them, and then they'll have a quiz. Thank you. Okay, now if you've had 5 minutes to study, put all that away, back in your folder in the right order. Take out half a sheet of paper. Take out half a sheet of paper. Think. Number 1. What's the base unit for volume? 1 word. Number 2. Base unit for mass. I want the word. You might luck out on the abbreviation. I know that you know. But you gotta, all right. Give me the word written out, please. And of course, we know the third question is going to be, well, what's the base unit for distance? When you measure height or width or length. Sure we do. When I want to measure from me to you, what's the base unit word? The base unit word. We know that one best. We know the third one best. Yes, we do.
Can you repeat that? Because I kind of got confused.
When I measure distance, a distance could be from me to you. It could be how tall I am. It could be the width of the chalkboard. Didn't we do that? Things like the height of the file cabinet. What's the base unit for those measurements? When you measure the mass, what is it about that object, about that piece of cork, about that rock, about that pencil that you're measuring when you measure its mass? Okay, worry about your partner's paper. You measure the volume of water in this bottle. What is it we're measuring about the water? When you measure the volume of that aquarium, what is it that you're measuring about the aquarium? Key word. You just looked at it in your papers. It was all right there in front of you 5 minutes ago. Eyes off your neighbor's paper. You're going to find the volume of something. Maybe one tool, one piece of equipment, one instrument, if you will. Could be something we didn't even use. Could be something we used. Could be something in this room. In this room, you see it, it'd be pretty fair game, wouldn't it? So it wouldn't be cheating. While you've done one, well, hey, let's maybe another instrument, another device, another piece of equipment to measure volume with, please. When you want to find the mass of this statement, what instrument, there's more than one, what instrument could you possibly use? As you're finished, make sure your first and last name is on them. Turn them over, pass them left. Turn them over, pass them left. now we'll have them all left real briefly. Answer is? Thank you. Answer 2 is? Thank you. Answer 3 is? All right, we've used them many times, haven't we? Tougher. Put in words. Number 4. Amount of matter. Good word. Anybody say that a little differently? Amount of particles. I like that way too. What's volume measure? That's where space or room comes into. All right. Instrument. That works for me. Another one? Anybody have something other? Cup. We want volume. We want volume. A bucket. Measures right by the bucket. A bushel. A quart. A pitcher would measure that, right? You can measure by the truckload. That would be volume. It's an odd one. All right, mass. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I was triple B now.
Okay. Today we start something hard. Today we start something that will be clear as mud. What's that mean?
Not very clear.
You got it. In other words, you're going to say, I don't get this at all. And it's okay to right now. Right? Of all the things I teach, this is one of the ones that I know everybody in this room is back up there and now. And none of you are eventually. Because I doubt if you've ever heard the term significant figures before.
So it's safe to say we're
Significant
on strike
figures.
out.
All right? So all I'm asking you to do is go up to the plate and at least take a swing, right? All right. And don't take 3 strikes. Hang in there. It's something we'll use over and over and over and over and over this year. Why? It all has to do with when we measure things, and then you have to get the calculator out, and the calculator gives you some great big old number, and you go, swear, where would I round off? And I will say, use your Sig Fig rules. Sig Fig is short for significant figures. So through the day and Friday and maybe a little bit next week, we'll get this topic done. It is not my favorite one to teach. It is math.
Don't
I heard
worry.
this. I agree. I am not a math teacher. Why don't I teach math? That's kind of boring.
It is.
They didn't hear me say that down there. Okay? But it's something we'll use. So you'll never ask me, where do I round off? You'll have a rule to tell you where to round off. So I hate to tell you this, it's going to be kind of a long, slow block. Hang in there. You need a full sheet of paper for this. Paper. All right, now take your paper out. Don't get your heads off the table. You're all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. You need to start this. Thank you. There are 4 rules to begin with. They start out really easy. The first rule, I'm not meaning to insult anybody here. I can teach one of my 9-year-old granddaughter Miranda. She can do rule 1, so you have no problem with that whatsoever. Rule 2 is a little trickier. Rule 3 and rule 4, I have a tough time teaching it to juniors and seniors. Okay? There's 4 rules, but I am convinced you can handle it. Might might not be crystal clear today. It still may be clear as mud when you walk out of here, but we're going to practice it and use it and get better at it. Part of this I want you to write down. Part of this is just examples. Please write that down. If it's a 1, if it's a 2, if it's a 7, if it's a 5, if it's a 4, if it's a 3, if it's a 9, if it's an 8, if it's a 6, it's what we call significant. I don't know who chose the word significant. They could have said important. They could have said of the essence. But they chose the word significant. Figure, the term figure is another word for number. So what we're really saying is these are the more important numbers. We thought all numbers were equally important, and now we're learning suddenly some are more important than others. Boy, that sounds strange. Please jot those two numbers down. Thank you. Now I'll let you pause and have a little time to copy them down. This is what it means. There's a 1. It's significant, isn't it? How about that 2? How about that 3? And this 4?
Yeah.
And this 5?
Yeah.
And this 6?
Yeah.
And that's 7?
Yeah.
And that 8? So how many are significant?
9. Oh, yeah, 8.
I don't see 9 numbers. I only see 8, don't I? Anytime you see a 1, any place in a number, it's significant. Duh. Anytime you see a 7 in any number, it's significant. Duh. Boy, it seems easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Oh yeah. John Paul says, yeah, I could go home and teach this to anybody.
No.
You got a little brother, little sister?
Little sister.
How old is she?
12.
12. You could teach that to her, couldn't you? This rule, couldn't you?
I choose not to.
I know. Well, you could. You could. Now, that's my point. So if I said, Josh, how many of these numbers are significant?
6.
Every one of them. He says the 1s are always 2s. Thank you very much. Dang! Go on. Isn't this easy?
Yeah.
And I told you it won't be terrible, didn't I?
Yeah.
But I said the first rule is going to be piece
Easy.
of cake, and then they're going to get tougher. So pat yourself in the back. You know rule 1. Round 1. You won round 1.
All here comes round 2.
Wait a minute. There's a decimal point out front. Is that going to make any difference, you think?
No, sir.
How many Sig Figs?
4.
Well done.
Should we write that
There
down?
is nothing in this that says decimal. I've asked you to write 2 down. I'm happy if you have 2 examples. If you want to write more, I'm okay with more. But I just think 2, when you go back to use this, I'm going to tell you right now, on the Sig Fig quiz, I'm going to let you get this sheet of paper out and use it on the Sig Fig quiz. Semester exam, I'm going to let you take this sheet of paper out and use it on a semester exam.
No.
Right? Yeah,
That's going to be great.
yeah. But you got to know how to read the rules, right?
Yep.
Okay. And that's what today's all about. And then there's smartboard. What about that puppy? What is the point of me making that crazy thing? And I've been told that there's 25 of them up there, is what we count them at. What's the point of that example?
Just
Just to show that
confuse
it's
us.
significant.
Doesn't matter how many there's.
Of the same number, right, Dolly? Okay, before we had different numbers. Those are all 8s, obviously. Duh. Does an 8 just count as 1, or does that count as 25? It counts as 25 is my point. You with me? Okay, thank you. So if we had this, please done. How many Sig Figs, folks?
4. 8.
6.
It's either 4 or 8, I would say.
Oh, man.
I have
I got 5 more.
8 different numbers, lack of a better word, 8 different symbols, but 4 of them are 1s and 4 of them are 2s. So getting back to this one here, if all of those count as their own, each of the 1s and each of the 2s in my new example counts. So that counts for 8. If I say I'm 57 years old, how many of those numbers are significant?
2.
You got it. You
57.
got it. But my birthday is this coming Saturday.
Oh, happy early birthday.
Well, thank you.
It's on Friday.
All of it. Okay. Please write that down. All right, so we have some strange words. We have non-zero. What's a non-zero?
Zero that's not a zero.
No, what's a non-zero?
No, 0.
Any number that's not a circle.
Yeah, say it again, Dylan.
Any number that's not zero.
Is a 1? 1's a non-zero.
Yeah.
A 7's a non-zero. In fact, that 1 through 9 thing, those are all non-zeros. So 0 is between, if I change this, 0 is between any number 1 through 9 are significant. That would be another way of putting it. Then you go on. Clear as chocolate milk. Clear, kind of clear. Let's take it. I have examples here. I'm curious. Would somebody please give me, swing the bat, give me a number you think is going to fit this second rule. Go ahead.
1, 2, and 3.
I need a 0 between. Keep going. Stephen, you start with this 1, 2, 3.
Oh, what?
You gotta, oh, I got a 1, 2, 3. You have to make it fit the rule. Keep going.
0.
And now what do you want? 1, 2, 3. All right. Good example. I gotta have a 0 in this to have rule 2, don't I? And a 0 has to be where? In between. In between. In between. That is the phrase I use. In books, you will see the term embedded. I don't use that term much, but I was surprised in the past how some students just hang on of all the terms they remember. It'll be like April, and they said, embedded! And I'm going, man, how'd you remember that? It's in between. This 0 is stuck, I'm going to use the word stuck, in between non-zeros. So Abigail, do we count it also as a sig fig according to rule 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It gets to be 1 too. Because it's stuck in the middle, it gets to be like them.
So is the 1 not a significant number then?
I missed it. Sorry.
So it's not wrong.
So Miss Caitlin, altogether, how many sig figs would you say there are?
6.
The 1 is? Is that 2? Is that number? Is this 1 a sig fig because of rule 1? Is this 2?
Yeah.
Is this 3?
Yeah.
Is this 1?
Yeah.
Is this 2?
Yeah.
Is this 3? And that's how I do my sig figs. I do them 1 rule at a time. I just use rule 1 6 times. All right, Natalie. That's embedded, that's stuck in between. Does it get to be a sig fig also?
Yeah.
Natalie says, yes, it does. So I have a total of 7 significant figures. I think I'm getting it. I think I'm getting it. Okay? just talk. Let's lay that pencil down for a moment. I'll have you do another example in a minute, but let's wait. Oh, who haven't I heard from? I think I heard from Nick. I want to ask you to do it a rule at a time. Which rule says that this 1 is a Sig Fig? Which rule makes it a Sig Fig? Is it rule 1 or rule 2? Look at your rules. Which one deals with 1s? Okay, which rule says this 2 is a Sig Fig? Which rule deals with 2s? Now there's the one back here. I bet rule 1 pertains. So rule 1 we have used 3 times. Billy, do we get to use rule 2 in this example? Is this 0 stuck in between other numbers that are already significant?
Yeah.
It is. And if it is, between, they are significant. All right? If it is between, they are significant.
So that's cool.
Rule 2 is a little trickier, isn't it? Well,
Yeah, but I think
well, I think so too. I think rule 2 we can handle it. Practicing. This is like batting practice, all right? Game. This isn't a game yet. This is batting practice. Hadn't even brought the real picture in yet. Whoa! I wonder why I'm used that example. What's different about my zeros this time?
There's 3 of them.
Aha. And the question is, do I count all 3 of them as being between? And the answer is yes. You may not philosophically, personally agree with that, but whoever made this Sig Fig game up said all those get to be Sig Figs because of rule 2. That's just the way the rules go. You may think you should get 6 strikes, but the rules say you only get 3 strikes. So, Mr. Tristan, all together, how many Sig Figs do you believe are there, please?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of hard to tell, aren't they? Yeah, right. Okay. Stephen, what rules did we use to get that answer? Yeah, we used rule 1 there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there. We used rule 2 there, there, and there. We used them 9 times. Heads up. Thank you. Eyeballs open. Thank you. So up here we learned, hey, if one of them's there, it is. Hey, we learned in this one, if multiple ones are, they also count. Oh my goodness, Cecily. If I said just use a word, anybody, instead of a number, how many are significant? That's the word I'm thinking. Jordan says, they all are. Got it. Because there's rule 1 on both ends. Jordan says all those babies are stuck in the middle together. Therefore, they all get to be called Sig Fig. All right. Whoa. Write this one down. If you haven't been writing any more down, please write this one down. 2, 3, 0, 4, 5, 0, decimal point. 6, 7, 0, 1, 2. Oh, that's crazy. 2, 3, 0, 4, 5, 0, decimal point. 6, 7, 0, 1, 2.
On that last one, let's say A.
That word?
Yeah.
All.
Oh.
That was our shortcut, Jordan, my shortcut. Instead of counting all those daggone zeros, we're just gonna say they all are. Thank you. All right, what's my point of this example? Why did I choose this? What's different about it?
Show them.
You have a 0 and then a decimal.
Okay, whoa, yeah, I got this decimal thing. Is there anything in Rule 2 about a decimal point? No, I just threw it in there to see if you're paying attention. What else is different about this example? Thank you.
They have a, there's a 0 that's not in the middle. Yeah, there is. Outside.
Hey, we showed them in bundles, didn't we, all together? But now all of a sudden we got them split up. The question is, thank you. The question is this still called in between? It is. Is this still called in between? Is this still called in between? Okay. Nowhere does it really say middle. All right, I may have heard that phrase. Right? It's not physically have to be in the center. It has to be between. It has to be between. So if I had this, that 0 is nowhere near the center, nowhere near the middle, but it sure is in between, so it would count also with. So if there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We get 11 numbers there, folks? 11 figures? They all are again, aren't they? Okay, well, that about exhausts all the various ways of doing it. I don't think you need to write this one down again, but if I would say, Miss Caitlin, what rules are we using here? Are we using Rule 1? Okay, do we use Rule 2? Yeah. Then how many of those are Sig Fig, would you say? She says they all are. She says there's. By golly, you're right. Good counter. Questions on the first 2 rules? Hey, please put your pencils down and don't write Rule 3 yet. Please put your pencils down. And if your person next to you has a pencil, take it from them. And listen. I think the best way is to say beginning. At the beginning. I've heard some people use the phrase in front of. And I've heard some people say to the left of, and I think this confuses you. So what I'm saying is choose the phrase you want. Zeros at the beginning of a number are are not significant. They only are placeholders. Or zeros in front of a number are not significant. They're only placeholders. You still need them. Or your third choice, which I don't like, zeros to the left of a number. So you have 3 choices, but you need all the rest of that. Decide what makes sense to you. Make sure you've got the word not in your sentence. You might want to underline and make it gigantified. All right, so it kind of sticks in your brain. So it's like a negative rule. A negative. It keeps them out of the club. If there's a Sig Fig club, all 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, and 9s get in the Sig Fig club. All zeros embedded, all zeros in the middle, in between, get in the Sig Fig club. But if you're a 0 where? You don't get into the Sig Fig club. There's no way a 0 at the beginning will ever, no, it's numeric. number discrimination. It's number discrimination. As you'll say it right. Now, once again, I got a feeling we can come up with an example before I show you one. Who's got one? Make up a number that you think this rule applies to. Swing the bat. Stephen did the other one. We're going to let Miss Abigail.
0.01. Oh.
I'm going to stop there for now. We could make it longer, but I think. How many zeros are at the beginning of that number? 2 of them. Do either of them get to be significant? Do either of them get in the club? Nope. 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 So if I would ask you how many significant figures in that number, you're going to say, well, there's just one Sig Fig. There's just one Sig. I can call them Sig Figs. Now, what it does not mean. Does that mean we're going to just simply change that number to 0.1? Absolutely not. It does not say to drop the zeros. Why do we need the zeros? They're what? Thank you. We need them to hold the place. That is in the hundredths column. That's in the tenths column. It doesn't say to wipe the zeros out. It simply says they're not going to count as Sig Figs. They don't get in the club. My examples, I don't think you need to write these down. I think if you've written the first one down, you have one example so far, I think you're going to be fine. I'm sure you have at least one example there. So we'll go to John Paul. How many Sig Figs do you believe?
2.
2. Did you use rule 1?
Yeah.
How many times? Used it right there and right there. Jordan, did we use rule 2 in this number?
Yeah.
Where?
For the zeros.
What's rule 2 say about the zeros? Please look.
0 between.
Are those zeros between? No. So we don't always use all 4 rules. We're using rule 1 with the 1 and the 2. And Josh, are we using rule 3 with this number? Okay, what is rule 3? Look at your rule. We need to learn how to just read our rules and use them. Where are zeros in rule 3? Are those zeros in the beginning? So did we use rule 3 this time? Yes, we did. We used rule 1. We're not using rule 2. But we are using rule 3 to say, no, no. They're there. That's nice. We're glad they're there, but they're not significant. They're not significant. Nick, how many in this one? How many Sig Figs?
2.
Thank you. Does anything about a decimal in rule 1, 2, or 3? No, nada, zip, zilch. Back to Taylor. We're using rule 1. Are there any 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s? Thank you. How many times, please?
4.
Thank you. We use rule 1 4 times. Taylor. No, excuse me. Natalie. Are we using rule 2 this time? Where?
Right, John.
That zero's trapped. Does he get a count? Does he get to be in this club?
Yeah.
Thank you.
In the club.
Dylan, we using rule 3?
Yeah.
How many times? What's it say about these 2 zeros in front? No, you can't. All right, once again, on the test, when you got a string of these, take it one rule at a time. Put little marks on the paper, put little dots, mark them out. check them, whatever it takes for you to decide. These are not. These are not. These are not. Here's a few more. I don't think you need to write them all down, but if I said Caitlin, I don't know. What about this one?
How many it has?
Yeah,
It has 5.
5. Okay, but I see 6 numbers. Which one didn't get to be a sig fig?
0.
All right, does that mean I should throw it out and make this 0.15007, folks?
I mean, you could.
No.
Oh, you can't.
Was the zeros the placeholder?
Placeholder! It's got to stay there.
Great job, John.
It's not a sig fig yet, which there's more to the story. Now see how it's being a little weird. All right, so we're up to Miss Cecily. Woo!
Excessively
How many of that mess? Sig figs. What? Which one? How come all those zeros, Abby, didn't get to get in the club?
Because they're all zeros.
Because there's
They're at the,
beginning.
thank you. Likewise. None of those get in the club because they're all at the beginning. All right, questions on rule 3. Rule 1 affects what kind of numbers?
Yeah.
Rule 2 affects what kind of numbers?
Zeros.
Where?
Zeros between
Non-zeros. Zeros between non-zeros.
Rule 3 affects what kind of numbers?
zeros at the beginning.
Zeros at the beginning.
Numbers that don't fit
Numbers say in the
the
beginning.
criteria.
Okay, and what's the only thing left that doesn't fit the criteria, as Stephen would say? Just as I before, I'd like you to lay your pencils down,
Dang it.
Somebody take
and if your neighbor is unwilling to do that, please politely take it from them. This is similar. And the word I like, well, I heard, what did you guys say?
Right.
At the end is what I heard. Right? If I like at the beginning, I like at the end. I think it's crystal clear. Some students say behind. I think that works. And if you use that phrase, I think you just mess yourself up down the road. All right. This is a way to get in the club if there's a decimal. So this is the only if rule of the 4. Take a moment. Decide, am I going to write zeros at the end of a number are significant only if there's a decimal point? Or are you going to write zeros at the end of behind a number, are significant? You choose which of those 3 phrases. Please write. One more time, we'll take a chance that we can come up with a number that fits this example. Billy says, we got numbers, we got a 0, it's at the end. Thank you, Billy. All right, Billy's example. Nick, are we going to use rule 1?
Yeah,
How many times?
twice.
Okay, that makes the 1 got in the club, the other 1 got in the club. Dylan, we're going to use rule 2. Dylan, we're going to use rule 3. Dylan, we're going to use rule 4. Yeah, we're going to use it. Here's where you need to say to yourself, is there a decimal point? If you say yes, there's a decimal point, then you have just let that 0 in the club. If you say no, there's not a decimal point, you have just kept that 0 out of the club. Dylan, in or out? It's in. Why is it in? Way to go. That's a tough one. So, Natalie, in your expert opinion, total number of significant figures are? Yes. Remember I said this is the toughest rule and we're nailing it already, right? See how close we're getting to eventually. We're doing great. We're doing great. Please move down. Please move down. Please move down. Please move down. now stop. I have verbal control on my smartboard. What's that? Who are we up to? How about Miss Taylor? Thank you. You want to just give me that number? You want to talk our way through it? What's best for you? We'll go through a roll at a time? Sure. Are we going to use rule 1 over here, Natalie? Sorry. Taylor. Yeah. How many times?
3.
Atta girl. Want to keep going? Are we going to use rule 2? No, zero's trapped. Thank you. Are we going to use rule 3? It's on the wrong side in it, but we are going to use rule 4. All right, now, if, see a decimal? So does that mean it gets in or out? It gets in. If there is, it's in. The decimal point helps it get in.
Wouldn't the decimal point have to be in front of the 0 then?
Do you see anything about the location? That's a great, 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 great question. That is a smiley face, pass that back kind of question.
Love the smiley faces.
Because that's the biggest problem with Rule 4 right there. That's the biggest problem with Rule 4 right there. It's this simple. I'm going to try to actually make things as easy as possible. If you say, yes, there's a decimal point anywhere, there's Sig Fig 3. Okay. Now, once again, these are not my rules. I'm just trying to word them the simplest. And this is not a simple wording. This is a tricky if, then, crazy rule. This is the simplest I can put it. Okay, you see a decimal any place. Yes, I see a decimal. Yes, he gets in. Hallelujah. All right, Stephen.
Sig Fig.
Love this next one, please. Total number. How many Sig Figs altogether, please, in this next one? What? Pronounce this first number for me. 1,230. Pronounce this number. 1,230. It's the same number. How could they possibly have different Sig Figs? You're right,
Because
Stephen.
one doesn't have a decimal.
Isn't that goofy?
That is
Crap is-
I mean, you would say they're the same number. Scientifically, I know why there is a difference. Even though you may pronounce them the same, there is a difference. Has to do with precision. Give me 2 weeks, we'll have precision under our belts too. All right? So there is a real difference between those two numbers, believe it or not. Please move down smartboard. Please move down smartboard. It hurt me. It hears and obeys. All right, I think you probably got enough examples. And we'll try to go all the way to the bottom on my smartboard. Here, I'm just going to make this go away, I hope. Ta-da! Let's take these in groups, Jordan, thank you. Once again, you would pronounce both of those the same, 123,000. But, Abby, what's different between the two when it comes to significant figures?
The top one has a decimal point and the
Very good. And because the top one has a decimal point, Caitlin, how many of those zeros get to be Sig Figs? They all do. To go with those 3 for a total 6. And Miss Cecily, since there is no decimal point in here, how many of those zeros get to be in a Sig Fig club? None. You're right. You're right. This is when it just kind of doesn't. I mean, anything up to now, I think you say that made sense. That made sense. What's with the decimal? Like I said, I don't want to add something else confusing right now called precision. There's a real reason why we have to do that. Okay, here's an interesting set, Melanie. This is exactly what Tristan. I'm going to go back to Tristan since he kind of asked this one. I have the same 5 numbers. All I've done is jacked around the decimal point, haven't I?
Yeah.
Is there any difference in their Sig Figs?
No.
And the total is both times?
5.
And down here, I'm gonna stick with you, Tristan. I took away the decimal point.
Yeah, there's no decimal.
Now all of a sudden, whoa, that's a huge,
3.
that's a huge difference.
There you
I
go.
was thinking of the 3 zeros we took out. My total mistake there. Does it matter if the decimal's in the middle of the zeros? All of those would be significant because they're all to the right of a non-zero. Whoa. This is kind of mind-boggling stuff. Thank you for hanging in there so well. Leave those rules out. I would like you to scribble out the right-hand column for now, lightly. Don't get crazy. Lightly. You may use this for 2 weeks when we come back to procedure. Now, this is simply your chance to practice these. All right, and I've modeled the first one for you. The first number is 34. Josh, how many of those numbers are Sig Figs? Yeah, that's what I put the 2 there for, didn't I? Good job. And Josh, while we're on the roll, what rule did you just use?
1.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, and that's what I want you to do. Try to get down to... Try to get down to number 11, would you please? Okay, you're going to fill in how many Sig Figs and the rules. You may have more. You may have like rule 1 and rule 3 and a rule 4 or something. Okay, I'll be around. Thank you. Okay, now that you've had about 5 minutes to work on this, we're just going to check, see how we're doing. Thank you. Eyeballs. Okay, I see 2, 3, 5. Any questions on that first box?
Nope.
All right, I'm seeing 5, 4, 6, 7. 5, 4, 6, 7. Anyone have a suggestion otherwise? No, we're all happy. Monty got a suggestion? Otherwise? No? Wow. How about 3, 8, 12, 10, 12. You want to talk about 12? 12. Oh, I didn't have a button. You want to talk about number... You want to talk about this one here? Did I hear? Yes? All right, let's talk about number 9. Rule 1. Rule 1 takes care of the 7, 3, 8, 8, 8, 2, 2, 1. No rule 2s, no trap zeros. Rule 3 says, no, buddy, you don't get in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm seeing 7. Does that sound better?
I see an 8.
Whoa!
Counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Really? Whoa.
My eyes failed me. Shh, please don't. 7, 3, 8, 8, 8, 2, 2, 1. I got 8 fingers there. Must be 8. All right, someone said we better check number 11. All right. The 5 is, the 4 is, the 3 is, the 2 is, the 1 is. They all get in by rule 1. Because that's 5 of us so far, right? How many embedded zeros? 2. What about these 3 out front? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sound correct? 7.
Well, would you look at that?
Sounds correct. It doesn't matter who was brave enough to come up swing the bat, does it?
Yeah, that's true.
Because if somebody never took a chance, right here in this paper that I'm holding up,